and gentlemen, welcome to the Lawn Care CEO podcast. My name is Dan Ralphs. I'm the head coach here at the Lawn Care CEO, and this is where lawn care guys learn to become leaders. And on today's episode, here's the story. I'm going to teach you the number one rule that a lawn care owner has to get right. The number one rule that a lawn care, really any leader, if we're being honest, but we're talking to lawn care guys here. And I'll kick it. By the way, shout out to Hippo Turf Care. What's up, Hippo Turf? They sent me a hat, man. I love it. Will Hall, shout out to you and your team. They're doing it right, man. Look out. Look out, East Coast, man. Hippo Turf Care is doing great. All right, so I'll kick it off with a story. So I was invited to this leadership conference that I will leave unnamed because I didn't find it particularly powerful. Well, it was actually very powerful. It was just a little dogmatic. It was like they were just like, I already go to church, man. Like I don't need another church. But there were some principles inside of it that I was really curious about. And as you guys know me, I'm kind of a leadership nerd, and so I just couldn't leave it alone. And so I found out, I was like, I like the principles. I just didn't really like the delivery and the way it was shared. And so I went hunting for where this all started. And I ended up in a leadership conference in Bermuda. Now, I'm not going to say whether or not I went to the leadership conference because it was in Bermuda or I just really liked the idea of the leadership conference. Either way, it was amazing. It was amazing. And it was one of those, honestly, it was one of those moments in my life where I was like, oh, dude, I just gotta go do this. And I just took a little courage with that, and I couldn't afford it at the time. I just like figured out a way, and it turned out to be awesome. So the name of the course, I have to like read it in my stodgy British accent in order for it to work. The name of the course is Being a Leader, the Effective Exercise of Leadership, an Ontological Phenomenological Model, which is way too many words. And it was kind of a stodgy academic leadership conference, but I was into it. But in order for you to understand this conference, you have to understand a couple of words, right? So the first word is ontological. Ontological simply means the study of our essence, who we are, right? So if you like ever met somebody, you're like, I don't know what it is about that person, but they just got like this vibe. That is their ontological. Like if you were studying that would be ontological. And then the second one is phenomenological, which means the study of how we perceive things. The study of how we perceive things. So these two ideas. I've lost many of you already with those long words. But the truth is, here's like, there were a lot of principles I could teach from the conference. It was a week long. By the way, this was the weirdest conference I ever went to, because right at the beginning, they had these slides up in the front of the room, and they were just reading the slides. And the first little section was like, hey, just so you know, there are 14,000 or something slides, and we're going to read all of them. But don't worry, like they went on to read that. Everyone loved it, and it was really true. It was like reading a book together. And anyway, it was really fantastic. I won't talk too much about that conference, but it was a really cool conference. And there was one principle that stood out to me, and it really transformed who I am. And I teach it to pretty much every leader at some point or another. You coach with me, you're going to get this talk that I'm about to give you, this little insight that I learned. One of the participants in the conference, one of the facilitators, was a guy by the name of Dr. Michael Jensen. And Dr. Michael Jensen is from the University of Chicago. And he'd written an article called Without Integrity, Nothing Works. And so buckle up, friends. I'm going to give you my integrity talk. And I must warn you that if you're feeling a little down on yourself, this is not the podcast for you. If you're not feeling pretty confident, this one is going to punch you in the gut. And it's what it did to me. Like it literally punched me in the gut and taught me some really important lessons that transformed the way I live my life. And so, but proceed with caution. By the time you're done, my goal is to make you feel sort of like a dirtbag at the end. No, I'm just kidding. It's not my goal. My goal is to help you learn and like turn the magnifying glass around so you're looking at yourself and understand. Okay, so If I were to if I were sitting in the truck with you and we were driving along and I said, hey, this would be a weird conversation to have in a truck. But if I said, hey, what does integrity mean to you? You would probably, typical answers that I hear are things like, it means doing the right thing. It means even when no one is looking. It means being the type of person who is honest and straightforward. And those things are true, but I want to give a much deeper definition of integrity. So if I in your truck, I grabbed a pencil off the dashboard and I showed you the pencil. I said, well, what does it mean if I were to say the pencil is an integrity? Like if the pencil is an integrity, what would that mean? Well, it would mean, according to the dictionary at least, it would mean that this pencil is whole, complete, perfect, unblemished, right? Without flaw. Okay. So, right? Because if the pencil doesn't write or if it's broken, it's out of integrity. If it doesn't do what it was designed to do, it's out of integrity. Many of you are are driving equipment that is out of integrity. It's not doing what it's designed to do. And so let's analyze this principle, not through the lens of morality necessarily, although it's got tons of moral underpinnings. Let's look at it from the lens of practicality, pragmatism, right? So again, think of that lawnmower that you got up in the morning and you're like, all right, let's roll. And it chugs out. Like that lawnmower is not in integrity. It's not doing what it was designed to do, if that makes sense. So if that's true of what equipment would be, then what would it mean for a human being to be in integrity, right? Do what you're designed to do. What does that mean? Like be whole, complete, unblemished. What does that mean? Well, this is again, Michael Jensen definition of integrity. He said, for a person, and this makes sense because who decides who you get to be, right? It's like you do. To some regard, and we'll talk. This is where it got a little West Coast for me, but it said he said integrity for a person. I almost like pause for you to fill in the blank. What does it mean for integrity for a person? Integrity for a person is a matter of that person's word, nothing more, nothing less. For a person to have integrity, the word of the person must be whole, complete, unbroken. Okay, so the word of the person becomes what matters. It's what I say, what I express, what either in words or in other ways. My word, it's saying that my word is my bond. My word is my integrity. And so if integrity is a matter of what constitutes your word, then what constitutes your word? Okay. Now remember, Michael Jensen was not a pastor. He was an economist. He was saying, listen, in order for you as a business, as a society, as a community, in order for us to succeed, we have to, by requirement, live in integrity. And the more, meaning we have to have our word sound complete, unbroken, as close as we can. And so I want to define, again, we're going to dig in even deeper. This is like a nerdy academic podcast, but I want to define even deeper what it means to be what your word means then. And Michael Jensen gives, I think, 5 or 6 definitions of the word. And as we go through these, what I want you to do is I want you to ask yourself and really kind of do a self-analysis, because everyone I ask, it's almost universal. Anyone with any amount of moral bearing, if I ask them, do you live in integrity? They're going to say, yeah, I really do. Like I'm pretty good, or some version of that. Some of you feel really like, man, I'm really living in high integrity. To me, like integrity, like most of us live in somewhere in that B to C range of integrity. I'm just asserting, and I don't even know, like I'm asserting that your ability to live in higher and higher degrees of integrity will make you a more and more and more powerful leader. And as a result, more successful. Okay, enough preamble. Here is the definition of integrity. Number one. The first definition of integrity is what you said you would do and by when you said you would do it. So my word is what I said I would do and by when I said I would do it. This is probably the most obvious of the principles of integrity, right? If I say I'll be there at 5, I'm there at 5. I'm not there at 5:01, I'm there at 5. If I say that I will, show up and my crews will be there, I will be there. And for the record, this in the lawn care space is not one of the strengths of most contracting service businesses because it's really, really hard. There's so many variables. It's hard to predict what's coming, right? And so as a result, we got to be very, when I first read this, I was like, okay, I'm going to just try to be in integrity. Let's do it. Let me give it a try. And as soon as I started trying, what I came to find out is I had to be super careful about what I said I would do. My wife would say, hey, can you pick up groceries on the way home or whatever? And I would think about it. I'd be like, well, okay, if I say I can do that, I have to do that. My kids discovered it. And, I would often, right, say to my kids, I'd be like, hey kids, after the movie, we can go get ice cream. Dad, can we go get ice cream after the movie? Sure. And I'd get done with the movie. I'd be like, I don't want to go get ice cream. But I said I would. And so 2 things simultaneously happened. One, I committed to a lot less. Under promise, over deliver, right? I was an under promiser. And then I tried to be much more precise in what I would say I would do. Hey, Dad, can we go to dinner after ice cream after the movie? You know what? When we're done with the movie, if I feel up to it, we can go. Right? So it made me more careful in my language, more precise in my language, more detailed in who and how I answered and how I responded. So that was the first thing that happened. And then the second thing that happened is I stopped renegotiating within my own mind what I should do or shouldn't do. If I said I'd do it, I did it. Now, this lasted like 2 seconds before I violated these principles, but like it got me thinking, right, about where am I falling short? Where am I not living up to the word? Now, one of the other things that I noticed more than anything is that the person that I most often violated my word with, who was it? This is a weird phenomenon of human beings. I wonder if it's true of you as it is me, but I would have this moment where it dawned on me. I'm like, holy cow. If I had an appointment at the bank with a banker and the appointment was for 11 o'clock, there's no chance I'd show up 15 minutes late. Like I would be on time because I know that's, I don't know why, because I want to be in integrity or present myself with integrity. If my wife said, hey, can you be home by 5? And I said, yes, I'm 15 minutes late all day long. And so I would violate my word more often with the person that I was closest to. And then it dawned on me, holy cow, it's not my wife who poor wife, that I most often violate my word with. It's actually myself. Yeah, I'll get up and work out in the morning. Can you imagine what an amazing, like I would be a ripped chisel specimen. I would look 20 years younger. The other day, my son, I had a birthday. My son was like, you don't look a day over 35. And I was like, that's because I looked 50 when I was 35. Anyway, does that make sense? So at the end of the day, right, guys, we got to be if you just did an audit for one day of whether or not you did what you said you would do and by when you said you would do it, I think you'll come to find, and hopefully you're not like me, but I found there were a lot of moments where I'd violate with my word with myself, those closest to me, And then periodically I would just overpromise and underdeliver. Okay. Definition number 2. The second definition of your word is that your word is what you know to do or know not to do. What you know to do or know not to do. This is a tricky one. Okay, guys? So it means if I'm walking down the sidewalk and I see some litter on the sidewalk and I know I probably should pick it up, that's what I know to do, I pick it up. If I noticed that there are some weeds in the far back corner of that yard that need to be sprayed, and I know I probably should, I go spray them. Businesses that operate this way, this is the kind of, do you do what you're supposed to do, what you know to do or not to do when nobody's looking, right? Independent of everyone else. There are some people, the men who lead businesses, women that lead businesses this way, they win consistently. And people are like, why? Why do they win? And it's just like, you can rely on them to do what they said they do. And it's because they've learned to keep their word with themselves. That they do what they know they should do or not do. This thing kicks your butt, man. I know I should work out. I know I should not eat, order Domino's pizza and eat too much Domino's, like eat the whole pizza. Like I know I shouldn't do that. Right? So there's like this, like all of a sudden what ends up happening is our understanding of who we should be and what we should do starts aligning with what we actually do. All of the well-wishers, all of the good ideas start getting healed. I was chatting with the leadership team just the other day, and I said, "It's like, guys, let's put up or shut up, man. Like, if we know we need to do these things, and yet here we sit after committing to do them and not having done them. If there's a list of things on your list to do today, and you know you need to get them done. Now, again, like my original comment, like let's start actually really defining what we should do or shouldn't do, or what we know to do, or what we know not to do. Like, well, let's be more wise about it. Like, let's not promise the world to ourselves and then violate it. Let's be more reasonable. Let's be more clear and careful. Definition number 3. So definition number 1, what you say you should do, and by when you said you would do it. Definition number 2, what you know to do or not to do. Definition number 3, what is expected of you, even unexpressed requests of you, by all those with whom you wish to have a workable relationship. I'll repeat. What is expected of you, even unexpressed requests of you, by all those with whom you wish to have a workable relationship. I find this one particularly valuable in the service industry, and here's why. I'll give you my family example first. If I this is not true. Like, this definitely did not happen in my family. One Saturday, I was home alone. No, I wasn't home alone. I was home with the kids. It was a college football Saturday. I love me some college football, and I was watching college football. And my wife was working, and the whole day went by, and the kids I watched college football, and the kids just ran about. And my wife got home, and the house was just a total wreck. She was like tired, and she loves it when the house is clean and tidy. She didn't tell me to clean the house. But is our relationship whole, complete, perfect, unblemished in that moment? Not at all, right? Nope, it's not. And if I want it to be, meaning if I want to have a working relationship with my spouse, I better start paying attention to even unexpressed requests, right? And I better start noticing, right, when my wife needs something from me, even if she doesn't express it. And my wife's amazing. She's just not a henpecky type. And so, but I want to have because she's not that, I want to have a great relationship with her. And so I work really hard to understand what she expects of me and what she needs me to do. In fact, believe it or not, guys, sometimes I'm almost embarrassed to admit it, but sometimes I'll literally go to my wife and I'll be like, hey, what am I not doing that would be good for if I did? Some of you are like, never, ever would I do that. Because you're too afraid of what she might say. But I'll tell you what, like, I'm going to either hear her say things that I'm willing to do or hear things that she says that I'm not willing to do. If there are things that I'm not willing to do, I now can manage her expectations of me. Luckily, my wife has very low expectations of me. She goes to work. She works as an RN, and sometimes she'll go to work, and there's all of these nurses, right, sitting around, and they're just complaining about their husbands. And I love it when they do because it makes me look better. And and it means she has lower expectations of me, right? So let's translate this to lawn care. So one of the reasons why it's so important at the very beginning of any project to be explicitly clear about what a homeowner can expect this project to be, and the clear vision we can communicate to our homeowners of this is what it is, this is what it is not, before the sale, we then are establishing expectations so that they don't have eventually unexpected expectations and we lose our workable relationship with them and the relationship does not become workable. Many of the problems that we have on the customer service side begin because we did not establish clear enough expectations at the beginning. And therefore we start off on the wrong footing in a broken relationship from the very start, right? I thought the flowers were going to be yellow. The flowers were purple. And now, like, we didn't even start with a chance to have this relationship work out because your expectations were very different than what my expectations were. And we didn't get aligned. So the practical consequence of this for me was, I was like, oh, dang, I got to make sure. I got to be super sure about what people want from this relationship. Like we joke about in our coaching, like if you ever are interested in coaching with us, one of the things we'll say at the very beginning of the coaching is like, hey, we only take cases we can win. We won't coach anyone who will have an expectation of success but not receive success, or at least to the best of our estimation. We won't do that. And the reason we don't want to do that is because it creates an unworkable relationship. And unworkable relationships suck your time, they suck your energy, etc. So what happens if you find yourself in a relationship where there were maybe unexpressed expectations, or they were unexpressed, or you didn't clarify the expectations at the beginning, so that angry Karen calls in and she's like, I expected you guys to knock on the door every time and have a 45-minute conversation with me, and your guy said he couldn't have a 45-minute conversation with me. Like in that moment, well, guess what? You get to decide, do I want to have a workable relationship with this person, or do I not? That's it. And I would encourage you guys to, the answer is no. And by the way, you're looking at like, all right, she brings in $900. Do I want to have a workable relationship and meet her expectations for $900? If the answer is no, for that $900 a year, the answer is no. It's okay to say, listen, ma'am, I can see we're not meeting your expectations. And as a result, I think it's going to be really good for you to go somewhere else. There's a famous story of the Southwest Airlines president. I forget his name, but he had this moment where he heard a customer berating one of his employees, chewing him out as he was walking through the airport. He walks over to the situation. He says, "Excuse me, I'm the president of Southwest Airlines. And by the way, you're not flying with us today." He just fired her on the spot. He said, I'm going to walk you over to Delta. Oh, can you imagine that Delta agent watching this all transpire, and he walks him over to the Delta agent, and she's just like, oh, "Are you kidding me?" Well, that president decided I don't want to have a workable relationship with this person, and therefore, right, we're not doing this. So I think it's just helpful to me to learn to be really powerfully to understanding that relationships that are whole, complete, and perfect require a matching of expectations, whether or not they're expressed. I don't have to tell my pen, I want you to be a blue pen, for me to write with it and have it be a red pen to be disappointed and to say, this isn't working, right? It's broken. And so, again, the invitation is to become hyper aware of any relationship where that feels a little broken, any customer relationship, any employee relationship that feels a little broken. It's your obligation, if you want to continue to have a working relationship, is to go figure out what the expectations are and what's missing, and then make it right. And this to me has been super duper powerful in customer relation issues and client deciding whether or not to sell a client. It's like we just become super transparent at the beginning. In hiring, one of the things I really try to be in hiring is I try to be super open about who we are and what we do and who I am. If I'm the type of person to show up a little late to a meeting, I better tell them. My favorite example of this is I was getting interviewed at the company Infusionsoft that I used to work for at the very beginning of my kind of corporate career. And my guy, Jeff Mask, is an absolute stud. Jeff Mask walks in. He was the hiring manager. And he's carrying a bowl of cereal into this interview. This was my first corporate interview. And I was like, anyway, I was a little confused. And he brings a bowl of cereal in, and he literally throws his feet up on the desk and just starts chomping on cereal. He said, "Hey, Dan, welcome to our company." Well, what was he doing? He was saying, this is who we are. And I'm going to set some expectations about who we are. And if this is not something you're into, if you have expectations other than this is not going to be you're not going to be workable here. You're not going to work here. Yeah. Okay. That's definition number 3. Definition number 1, reminder, what is said, what you said you would do, and by when you said you would do it. Definition number 2, what you know to do or know not to do. Really, this is your integrity with yourself. And then finally, it's integrity in relationships and what makes a relationship whole, complete, perfect, unblemished. Again, sweetheart, tell me everything wrong with me. Risky. All right. By the way, correct answer, she says, all right, I'll go first. Like, just say, you go first. And she'll list off all these things. And then when it's your turn, you're supposed to say, there's absolutely nothing right. You meet every expectation that I've ever hoped for. She will feel so bad. All right. Definition number 4, what you say is so. What you say is so. This just means you need to tell the truth. And you shouldn't pretend to know something when you don't know it. I know this sounds simple, but if I say, hey, that mower is better than the other mower, I better know it's so. If I say that president's better than the other president, I better know it's so, right? If I want to live in integrity, I say what I say is so is so. That's what it means by honoring my word. Okay. So every time, so I've started using qualifying words a lot. I think, I'm pretty sure. And it forces me to evaluate whether or not I'm telling the truth. I'm telling something factual. In the social media generation, there are way too many people who are saying that something is so when it is not so, or it's sort of so, or it's maybe so. Okay? And I don't know that I get to live in integrity if I'm out spouting stuff that isn't necessarily true. Now, don't get me wrong. There's such a thing as a little entrepreneurial bravado where you get to say things are so in a way that is interesting, right? It's like the small home becomes the real estate agent's like, it's cozy. Okay. So And is it cozy? It is cozy, right? So we can still say things in a way that helps, move things along. But let's tell the truth. Let's tell the truth. The whole truth and nothing but the truth. It's one of my favorite phrases is this idea of tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. It pops up a lot when I have to have a hard conversation or one of my clients has to have a hard conversation with someone. I go, just tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Hey, Dave, I love you like a brother because you are my brother. And Dave, I want you to be a part of this business more than maybe anything. And I also want this business to grow more than anything. But if you keep doing what you're doing, I don't see how I can keep you here. And that breaks my heart to say it. And I was terrified to say it, right? You see how it's like, tell the truth, tell the whole truth. Don't just say, Dave, you're screwing up. Tell them the whole truth. I'm nervous right now, right? I found such power in telling the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, that what I say is so is so. So definition number 1, what you said you would do, and by when you said you would do it. Definition number 2, what you know to do and what you know not to do. Definition number 3, what is expected of you, even unexpressed requests. And then finally, what you say is so is your word. The final one is what you say you stand for. Your word is constituted in what you say you stand for in moral, ethical, and legal standards, unless you've declined those standards. There's a really beautiful story that's been a little bit lost to history, and it's in Plato's Apology, and it's the story of Socrates. And Socrates was kind of the community felt he was a troublemaker because he'd walk around and he'd ask these really hard questions, and he would just like roast people who thought they knew. He would just roast people who said things were so that were not so. And he gets called into court. Well, at the time, his punishment was, if he was considered to be corrupting the minds of the youth, was the phrase. Just thinking some of you guys probably have corrupted some minds of the youth. But corrupted the minds of the youth was the plea, was the charge, and Socrates defends himself, but in the end is found guilty, and the punishment is death. Socrates is put in jail to await his execution, and his buddies show up, and they're like, dude, Socrates, let's get out of here, man. This is unfair. It's not right. And we bribed the guard, and we're out of here. And Socrates simply says, listen, here's the thing. I have lived in this community for a long time, and I've never disagreed with the government or said that this was a bad law. In other words, I have not declined this legal standard. Because I haven't, and because I'm a person of integrity, I can't avoid this execution. So here's Socrates, right? Unjust trial, maybe. But he said, man, I have committed to support the legal standard here. And so, right? What? Come on, Socrates. I don't know that I agree with that. Right? By the way, let me just publicly declare, I decline the speeding law. I decline to follow the speeding law publicly. Right? So at the end of the day, what you say is so for moral, ethical, or legal standards. Like many of you know, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And when I say that, if I say that out loud, it means that I stand for certain moral things. And I need to follow those moral things unless I announce I'm the type of Mormon that just swears sometimes. Right? It's like, and all that is, it's like, hey, guys, there are certain things we say to the world. Like if you're a Christian Brothers Lawn Care, well, you're communicating to the world some things, okay? And in order for me to be in integrity, I better darn well live up to that. And if you're like Dirtbag Lawn Care, then you better live up to being a dirtbag. That's all we're saying. So that everyone kind of, it's back to this idea of like, I know what to expect. I know what to get when you're there. And not only that, but I become a much more powerful person when I start living up to the standards that I claim to believe in. Do you see? This is why integrity is so much more powerful than just like showing up on time or not lying overtly to people. Right? Because sometimes I tell lies, but I tell it because I say, hey, I want to be a good dad. And I don't live up to that. Integrity is what forces me to become a great human being, you guys. It's what pushes me to be a great human being. It tries to align my behavior with what I think my behavior should be or what my moral standard of behavior I've chosen. And there is something, I don't know if you met a person like this. I wish you could think through your life, find that guy or find that the mother that you felt lived this principle in a really meaningful way. And you will discover that they had a certain power, a certain essence, right? Ontological. What's the essence of who we are? They had a certain essence that was unshakable, that was powerful, unshakable. That they walked with a certain confidence, calmness, because they were doing what they said they would do. For some of you, I hope it's not very many, but some of you are out of integrity with yourself. You're out of integrity with your clients. You're out of integrity with your family. You're out of integrity with your faith. And we got to like start owning up to some of that stuff, you guys. We got to stop hiding from this kind of like being willing to just negotiate or justify away the reasons we're not in integrity. We'll never grow into powerful $1 million, $10 million, $30, $40, $50 million CEOs that have the power to lead men and that have powerful men want to follow them. If we don't ever figure out how to pick up the trash. There's a story of the CEO I follow, Clayton Mask. He was a man who lived in integrity. He doesn't know it, but I looked up to him a ton. And the story was told of him that people noticed that when he was in the bathroom, he would take an extra paper towel and he would wipe down the sink. Even when he thought no one was looking, right? Just because he knew he should do it. And he did it. Okay? I've watched many lawn care leaders, I should say, who are in integrity, and the influence and the power and the way that pushes them to be great men, and then watching others want to follow and model and mimic. It's going to be very hard for you to lead a group of people who are high integrity people, when you are not modeling high integrity. And it will be much, much easier when you do. Oh yeah. Now, if I did my job right at this point in the game, you feel a little sad because you're like, dude, I suck. I am way out of integrity. Maybe, hopefully not. That's how I felt. I was like, holy cow. There's a lot I didn't think about that I violate these little principles of integrity all day long, all the time. And so it's like, what do I do? And this is where I love this definition. It says, integrity is simply honoring your word, like respecting it, trying to like hold it a little sacred, right? Like not being a tramp that sleeps with every lie I come across. It's like, no, dude, I got to start honoring my word. And so this is the definition of honoring your word by Michael Jensen. He says, integrity is honoring your word. And honoring your word is 1, keeping your word and on time. So all of those things. I just do what I say I will do. I meet unexpressed expectations. I follow my moral code. and and when I don't, so whenever I'm not keeping my word, or whenever I know I won't be keeping my word, just as soon as I become aware of it, I say to everyone impacted, I won't be keeping my word, and I will be keeping, and that I won't be keeping my word. B, that you'll be keeping your word in the future, and by when, or that you won't be keeping your word at all. Or C, what you do to deal with the impact of others of the failure of keeping your word. Here's what I'm going to do. So again, this is a great response. I think that you will gain a ton of 5-star reviews if all you do is call Mrs. Johnson. Mrs. Johnson, this is Dave with Dave's Lawn Care. Hey, I am a little bit out of integrity here. I said that I would be there by 5 p.m. or 5 a.m. tomorrow, and it looks like I'm going to be there about 5:35 a.m. tomorrow. And I just want to give you a heads up. Is that going to impact you at all? No? Okay, great. I want to be a man of my word. But what? You would blow minds. You would blow minds. Hey, Mrs. Johnson, I found out today that we broke your mailbox. That puts us a little bit out of integrity with you, and I want to make it right. What we're going to do is I've already called someone who can help us fix that, and they're going to be down there right away. Is there anything else I need to do to clean this up with you so that you feel like we're doing the right thing? Right? Checking in on expectations. So I'm probably nobody's still listening. My tens of listeners, I bored them. But here's what I want to land on, you guys. When you hear this for the first time, at least when I did, I was kind of down on myself a little bit. I was like, what do I even do? I don't know how I get back to the point of stronger integrity. And I keep hopefully getting better and better year over year at being more a man of my word and being more in integrity. But one thing that's been really clear is I now really am interested in it. I really want to do it. I value it. I'm like, man, I would love to be a man of perfect integrity. And I'm honoring my word. And if I miss an appointment or if I'm a few minutes late, somebody said, hey, I was 5 minutes late to a meeting, and they said, hey, it's no problem. And I kind of said, it is to me. It is to me. I'm sorry. Is there anything I need to do to clean it up? And so, gents, if you want to be $1 million business owner, if you want to be a $10 million business owner, $50 million business owner, you need to have a $50 million level of integrity, or a $10 million level of integrity, $1 million level of integrity. I just don't see how you do it any other way. And so it's a challenge, right? And by the way, hopefully you're seeing that this doesn't just apply to my business. This applies to my family. This applies to my relationships with my dad, my mom, whoever else. And just go get it cleaned up, man. Like, if you're out of integrity in any of those key relationships you want to have workable relationships with, you just reach out. You just say, hey, listen, man, I'm out of integrity. And I'm sorry about that. And what can I do to clean it up? And you just get it clean. Feels good. Feels good when it's clean. And so, my friends, the challenge is to do a self-evaluation. Just start paying attention to it today. Just walk through your day and go, how many times do I give my word? And how many times do I violate that word? Even by a minute, a second, right? You're going to start using a lot of words like about. Yeah, we'll be there about 5 o'clock instead of at 5 o'clock, right? So it's like little words will start changing in your vocabulary. And then make it a constant pursuit, a forever pursuit to become a little bit more in integrity, a little bit more in integrity, a little bit more in integrity. As you do, you become a more powerful man or woman and leader. And hopefully that allows you to do more good in the world. Thanks for listening, everybody. Go be in integrity. And as always, go do more good.